Hey y'all, Wiggle here. Here's a bag of tops of Hardened garlic, music variety. See all those little bitty bulbs? So what I'm doing is now I've already put a bunch of Egyptian walking onions in the bed. So I'm just going to put garlic in there with the Egyptian walking onions. So whatever, something's going to grow. Then I'm going to put that hay over the top. Get that out of the way. So I'm going to show you all some raised beds I'm doing. See, I'm working on this is what it looked like. There's some cabbage there. Bought it down at the local grocery store. So this is what my little hill looked like, my terrace. So you kind of get an idea. This is what I changed it into. So we're using feed sacks. And we're filling them with manure, like over 3/4 full, mostly full. And then just laying them in there with the manure. And then putting the good dirt in between. I already had the dirt laying here, so we'll just see how I got all this unworked dirt up here. I'm going to use that extra dirt for another bed. So we got like 6 inches of decent dirt, and then you start hitting some brownish clay mix. You know, it's improved clay, but it's improved red clay, and there is some white clay, gray clay in there. So we have 6 inches of good bed at least. Then the mineral base underneath it. So what I'm doing here, this is a comfrey patch. This is the edge of my comfrey patch. The comfrey goes all the way down there. So I've got several comfrey plants we'll be digging out. So I'm going to put another row on the edge, and then we're going to fill that extra dirt up here into the next row of beds. I'm trying to shoot for about 30 inches. It varies kind of with the terrain. If you have a little low spot, high spot, it pushes it or widens it a little bit. But I'm basically trying to have 2 30-inch rows, and then this will be my walkway. So now, the advantage of these feed sacks as raised beds. Now, okay, I'll start with a negative. People are going to say, yeah, there's lead, cadmium, whatever, ink. Yes, yes. And your garden soil can hydrolyze a certain amount of that stuff and turn it into something good. If you have lead and it gets uptook by the plant, the plant utilizes it, it becomes a hydroxide on there. So now you have cadmium hydroxide, lead hydroxide, and that's actually not harmful to life. It's actually a beneficial micronutrient in small doses. Not, you can't like overdose on it, but once it's hydrolyzed, it's good for you, generally speaking. So I think good active garden soil can handle a certain amount of unnatural. Obviously, I would prefer just a plain brown bag, but even that has stuff in it. So I know that's not ideal. Now on to what's good about them. All right, you can use them to make paths. You can use them to retain moisture. You can use them to block weeds. And since they're filled with fertilizer, they're filled with unfinished cow manure, and as that leaches out, there's your natural fertilizer. You're also compost. This is a compost bed that's working as you're just waiting. It's breaking down. Everything in there is going to turn into compost, and it's going to be already right here in the garden ready to use. Yes, these bags will deteriorate. That's part of the plan. I'm hoping to get a year out of them. We'll see. Further, they're good for the environment in that you're repurposing things that would be burned or put in the landfill. Yeah, people use feed sacks all the time, but this is another way another stream of use to keep keep them out of the landfill. So that's good. Keep them from blowing down the road or whatever. Also, they're free. They're very affordable. So, or next to free. I mean, you probably find a source of these without paying a whole lot for them. And even if you have to pay for them, you're not going to pay very much. They're just cheap or free. So they're readily accessible. They are versatile in that when you have them more narrow, they adjust. They can go wide, they can go flat. You can turn them on the side for more height. So they're very adaptable, and you can adapt how much you fill them. They're adaptable with what you can fill. I happen to have cattle, so I have plenty of manure, and I'll show you how we're doing that in a minute. And so it's a resource that we had. I had them stacked up, and now we found a use for them. I may have forgotten some other useful parts of these, but that's the basic idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think this is something you can consider. And even when they break down, it's not like they're just not going to just give up and let everything wash out. I mean, everything in there is going to kind of turn to soil, and it's going to be kind of compacted as it grows. And you might get roots in there and all that and help hold things in place. So we're stabilizing the bank. And I'm going to do it on this heavy slope just to see how that goes. So as you can see, the slope is fairly steep. Really steep right up here now near the neck of this thing. So onto what I planted, Egyptian walking onions and hardened garlic music. Put in store-bought. They're just ahead of mine. They're already hardened off. So I got stuff in the greenhouse, but it's not quite ready. I'm actually going to put them in those frames, and I'm going to put plastic on them. We had 35-degree night, but we're all in the 40s, it looks like, for the next unforeseen, at least the next week, maybe longer. Nothing in the 30s, and even with 30s is not going to hurt cabbage if it's established. But my non-hardened off cabbage and other brassicas, I'm going to put in those cold frames and then put plastic over them. That'll lessen the UV impact, and I'll take the plastic off on nice days and give them a week, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and get them acclimated to being outside, and then I'll just leave the cover off. So that's going to be super easy. That's going to give me some room in my greenhouse, so I'm going to do that. So this is going to be cabbage. I haven't quite figured out the companion for that yet. Maybe more onion, I don't know. I might just sow some seed, or I don't know. I'll find out what I'm going to put in there. You don't want to put too much brassicas because it's just like, come and eat me. They say marigolds are good, but I don't have that much marigold seed. So I don't know. I'll let you know what I do decide to put in there. I'm going to also move this comfrey somewhere else. I'm going to get the comfrey out of the garden. I don't need it in here. I'm going to put it out where it can get grazed a number of times per year. And it's pretty hardy, so I'll just dig it up and move it. So, and this is going to get butternut squash in this bed here, and I'm going to let it just sprawl out all across all of this. I'm going to encourage it to sprawl down into the ditch. This is the way it usually goes anyway. It's downhill. It doesn't usually go uphill too much. So I might have butternut run all the way down this thing. I don't know. So, and then, but I'll put something else in there temporarily. Maybe some radishes or something. Daikon radishes, just to stabilize the soil. So, let me take you over here and show you what we got going. So we got this out of the woods. That's all the oak leaves in there, but it doesn't matter. It's still biomass. That's what we're after. So we use tarp, use a bucket, use a shovel, use the scoop shovel, whatever, to get it into this cart from the pasture. Now the men are loading the round point shovel into the bag. It's a team effort. It's much more than a team effort. And then we end up this. So there's our bags, there's our filled bags, and then we'll move them. Another good thing about them is they're light. I mean, even when they're this full, you can lift them over a fence. So it's not like they're less than 50 pounds. They're not like a bag of feed, they're less than that. So that gives us the advantage. So I got to get that slope over there ready. I'm going to move some of that hay back up over the top of my garlic bulbs. Some of that old straw, just to get it out of the way, and then we'll start getting ready to put some bags down, and I'll show you that.